The Concrete Connection project acknowledges that the land this podcast was recorded and filmed on is the traditional lands of the Kaurna people, and we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. Well, g'day, and welcome to the Concrete Connection project podcast. It is December 5th, and the project is very closely coming to its end. In 1 week's time, the final performance will be going down in Rundle Mall at 5:30 p.m, where I will, fingers crossed, hopefully performed or created on every single street of the Adelaide CBD, raising money and awareness for mental health. And today we are on Paul Kelly Lane, where this project may have officially began. And today I'm joined by Jacob Hodgman. Welcome, Jake.
Mate, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
It seems how long ago was it? We were just down there meeting with City Council and trying to organise the logistics of...
We were. It was probably about 2 years ago now.
Wow.
But even a little bit earlier than that, it was around October 23, around that. It was definitely October the 20s, where you came to a concert of mine. I was playing at Cafe Komodo in Prospect.
That's right.
And you were the very first person that I actually told about this project.
That's right. Right. It was when you went, hey, I've got a great idea. And I went, whoa, man, that's ambitious.
Yes, yep. But you were one of the people that did say, whoa, that's ambitious. And you also said, well, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to thank you, and I'm really happy that you're able to join me for which may be the last official podcast of the project. We'll see if there's going to be some residual podcasts afterwards, but I'm going to call this the last official one. I think we're at about episode 34 or 35, so
wow.
I think 35 episodes is not too bad.
That's pretty good, mate.
Over 18 months since it officially began. But yeah, I was talking to you about this project. I came to you and we sort of worked out of how this project could be possible. And yeah, we did have a meeting with council. It was about 50-50 success rate with the meeting with council there. They weren't able to offer us any funding or help us too much, but they did offer us the big master list of streets and a nice big satellite map that we were able to use to cross off these streets. It was just on this lane, probably around this time, 2 years ago.
Yeah, and we don't want to bag them too much. It was a very unique project. It was a very unique project that landed suddenly with us being excited and you saying, we want to do this, and them sort of going, wow. I think it's taken a little bit for everyone to sort of work out just how it could all be done, but it's all come down to you, Ben. You've just plugged away.
Yep, and that's it was one of the things with that meeting was that it did seem in the too hard basket for some organisations and to get behind, and how there would be a lot of red tape, but it was one of those things, just because something's hard doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. And then that's just when a thing that I've learned as well, particularly in the music industry, is that if you want to do something, sometimes you just got to go out and do it on your own. Not sit around and wait, because they did offer a few things about small quick funding grants and things, but that wasn't going to be until the next year, and then I wasn't going to sit around and wait for grants. So we've come to nearly the close now, and we've managed to raise about $10,000 for mental health charities and mental health awareness.
Lots of conversations going on because you've done this, and I think that's the money raising is important because it provides services, but that conversation, I think, is a point in society. We need people like you that are standing up and going, hey, hang on, let's have a conversation about this, because that's going to become the new, I hate the term the new normal, but the new normal is a generational change. We're talking about mental health and talking about your well-being and just looking after each other as humans will be the default. You can see that in some of the kids coming up now, and it's a huge difference from 30, 40 years ago.
And even having conversations with people that you think you know. We had that first conversation in, it was October 2023. And I told you that I was thinking about doing this for mental health, raising money and awareness. And you're like, oh, well, hey, I've been I've dealt throughout my life with some issues of my own, and that was borderline personality disorder. Do you mind having a bit of a dive in about that and your experience? And
yeah, absolutely. So I find that because of that generational change, I seem to be in a position where as a guy of my age who will talk about it and has been through it enough to be able to speak with some experience, that's a bit of a rarity, so I'm more than happy to talk, because when I do, it enables other blokes to talk, or other people to talk. I tend to talk to a lot of blokes because with borderline personality disorder, a lot of women will go and see a doctor or a GP or a counsellor or a friend, and they'll talk about their things. And with men, they don't. So for a long time, the data suggested that borderline personality disorder was primarily women. And it's not. It's 50-50. It's humans. But men would, the way it presents, men would get angry, throw a punch, end up in the social justice system where there is no mental health support, and they go round and round in circles. And that's why it's important to talk, because it's important to get guys to talk about it 50-50 as well. So BPD, it's a bit of a misleading name. It's probably best described as emotional dysregulation. So people with BPD, and there are lots of different forms, there's a couple of hundred different variations, and you can have comorbidities with it. So you might have BPD, but my comorbidities would be depression, anxiety and PTSD. They're things that have come along the way. You very rarely get BPD without something else thrown in. People with BPD and schizophrenia and multiple personality disorder and everything all thrown in at once. So that's very complex. But the emotional dysregulation part means that we can feel all the emotions, sometimes all the time, and sometimes at 150%. And it can come on, someone could do something that I don't agree with, or is really insensitive or invalidates me, and suddenly I feel a wave of anger, or I burst into tears, or I get really anxious. Now those are my responses. That's the mindfulness part of it teaches you that's my responsibility to manage. So if you've triggered me and made me angry, I'd need to either go, okay, I don't know why my reaction was like that. I will not make any major decisions right now, just let this moment pass until I've regulated. Or it might be saying, hey, look, I just want to let you know that thing you said was actually really invalidating, and I know you don't think it was harmful, but the way I take it, it hits me like such and such, and that makes me feel like that. And that doesn't always make sense, but it's important to be able to try and overcome, and for the person with BPD not to immediately go, well, I feel angry, so I'm justified in feeling angry. Having BPD is not an excuse for bad behaviour. But conversely, we often say it's not the people with BPD that are the problem, it's everybody else. Because we're just humans, and we have a thing, like people with ADHD have a thing, or people with epilepsy have a thing, or people with all the things that people can have. And some of them we accept and we say, oh, that person they've got anxiety, so we won't put them in this loud room. We know that that's triggering for them, so we'll try and manage that situation. People don't seem to be able to yet do that with BPD, where you can see someone's being they're emotionally wound up, or they might have just burst into tears in a situation that really surprises you that they've reacted that way. People then try and fix it, or they try and make you feel better, kind of so they feel better and they're not uncomfortable. What I say to people is, if you come across me and I'm angry or I'm upset, I've turned up and I'm in tears, and you're going, what? The best thing to do is not step and not push away and go, oh, hang on, I'll just back off because I don't know how to deal with that, because that leaves us abandoned. And abandonment and isolation is a huge trigger. Even if we aren't happy with you at the moment, we probably don't want you to leave, because then we're alone. And sometimes I say to mates and some colleagues is, if you come across me and I've rocked up and I'm not acting like you think I should, or I'm feeling really upset, what I probably need is a hug. I need someone coming up and saying, hey, look, let's just drop everything for the moment. Do you need a hug? that breaks down barriers. It shows someone that you care. It makes the person feel that they've been cared for in a way that isn't just ticking boxes. And it creates empathy. And that can turn my whole day around. That can really turn my whole day around. So I would suggest that if you're approaching someone with BPD, approach it with not trying to fix it or understand it necessarily, but with a childlike sense of curiosity. Go in. I don't know what's going on with this person. Let them explain it to me. Let me hear what they're saying, even if it doesn't quite make sense to me, because it's a valid viewpoint. And they aren't trying to upset you. They're not trying to have a go at you. The people with BPD are trying to deal with their emotions at the time. Very, very aware that everybody around them is staring or going, what do we do? Or there's a term, walking on eggshells. There's a book called Walking on Eggshells if you want to read it. But it's about the thing that happens when people come across someone with BPD, and it happens a lot with family members. They will start walking on eggshells around the person because, we don't want to trigger you. We don't want to say the wrong thing. We don't want to, upset you. And so it then becomes a case of them not being themselves and not being honest because they're trying to manage our emotions. To be honest, you don't get dumb people with BPD. We've all got a level of intelligence. We can see the things that are wrong in the world and we react to it and we feel it. So if you are bullshitting us to an extent, or you're not being genuine because you're trying to manage your way through a situation, we can pick up on that. And we'll recognise it for what it is and we'll say, look, that's not helping. Please stop walking on eggshells. If you are angry at me or you're upset, just say it. Treat me like I'm a guy at the pub. You've taken a bloke out to the pub and we're having a chat and, there's some things you want to say. We can take it. You might have to be mindful of how you're saying it so that you're not invalidating their feelings, and that can be a tricky one. But have a go, because often just having the go will recognise that and that'll get you credit. I'm normally much better at talking about BPD. I'm having a little bit of a tough year at the moment and dealing with some stuff, so we get a bit of emotional executive dysfunction when you're on the spot, so you sort of, you'll notice I'm talking all over the place, right? But that's okay. That's part of who I am today, and we'll just roll with it.
Well, it's making for an easy interview anyway. I'm not having to do much.
So statistically, let's look at this in the wider community. There's various stats thrown around, but I tend to work on 4%. So about 4% of people in Australia have borderline personality disorder in some form. And of those 4%, let's put this in terms that a lot of people can relate to. So let's say you've got a group of 1,000 kids. You've got a school with 1,000 kids. 4% of those are going to have a form of emotional dysregulation statistically. 40 of them. So 4% is 40. So we need to be aware of how we manage those like we would kids with any other neurodiverse issue. Of that 40%, 10% statistically are likely to take their life or get very close to taking their life before the age of 40. So of those 1,000 kids and the 40 with it, 4 of them are likely to end their life by their own hands because of their emotional dysregulation or the way that the world treats them because they have it. So I think it's very important that we talk about this because that is a lot of people. 10% of suicides in Australia are related to BPD, and 10% of people with BPD will suicide. So these are significant factors. 4%, that's almost 1 in 20. So you know someone with BPD, you'd know multiple people with BPD that you don't even know. A lot of them don't know they have it, but I can walk into a room and sort of go, yeah, I reckon you and you. And I don't view that as something wrong with them. I view that you've got a superpower, you've got a superpower, and you've got a superpower. And most people haven't tapped into it yet. So with BPD, there are 9 diagnostic criteria. Can't remember them all off the top of my head at the moment, but if you look them up, search for diagnostic criteria for BPD. If you meet 5 of those 9 at the moment, you're counted as having BPD. And that's not an indictment or anything. That's simply understanding who you are, because that then opens you up to being mindful about the way you're acting or why you're acting that way. One of the things is risk-taking behaviour. So people with BPD might be more prone to driving recklessly or self-medicating. Self-medicating is a big one. So there's a lot of alcohol abuse and drug abuse. It might be reckless, impulsive sex is one of them. But if you look at risk-taking in general, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can be, okay, yep, Jake, you're going to be on a podcast talking about the things that people say are wrong about you, you know? So, okay, man up, sit down. Well, not man up, that's a horrible term. Turn up, sit down, just start talking, right? It's a risk, but I'm going to take it.
Yep.
Because I know a lot of other people who don't have BPD that go, I would never sit down and be in a podcast. I can't do that. So me taking that risk and talking about it, that's part of my superpower. And there are many other aspects of that. There are people with BPD who are successful in all walks of life, but the prevailing sentiment is that you can't cure BPD. You know, I was told, oh, you've got this, you'll never recover. That's absolutely wrong. While you may not, there is no cure. You're not broken, but you can manage it. So you learn to manage it, and I've spent many years without it being an issue at all. But recognising that at some point a situation will come along that might trigger me or make me have to be mindful of how I'm acting. So one of the we could talk for days. I'd like to just say for people who are out there who are coming across BPD for the first time or have a child or a loved one or a parent with BPD, there are services available. There is a service called Family Connections, which is free. It's a free 12-week course. People with BPD can't go to it, but the people who are carers for people with BPD can. And it teaches you skills how to, and often it's, parents are struggling with, like, how do I get my teenager to clean their room? It's a bloody mess, and yelling at them doesn't work, disciplining them doesn't work. And you go, okay, we'll stop trying those things. And I won't pretend to teach what the course teaches, but there are things about, you might say, look, it's instead of, oh, you haven't cleaned your room, bloody awful, you're disgusting. They're not going to go and clean their room because you've told them they're disgusting. You got to give them a reason that makes them feel involved. So it might be something like, well, okay, I just need to let you know that the more you leave food on the floor, the carpets are going to go mouldy. I'm going to have to clean. I'm going to have to pay for those to be done. That's a whole bunch of work, and that means that we can't go and do the nice things I want to do with you because we've gone and spent that money. Now, that might not be the way they describe it in the course, but it's the shift of, if you're angry at us for us being dysregulated, it's not going to work. Like, how is that going to work? I'm just then fighting your inability to keep your emotions down to a level where we're solving things. So I would recommend looking at Family Connections, and I think the very first donation you did in this project was to Family Connections. So that's brilliant because it's a volunteer thing. They don't charge families to come. It's booked out months and months in advance, and there are families across the state crying to get in. So the more funding and awareness we can get for that, the better, because it's...
Well, it was the first one we donated to because this project, it's all about educating me as well as hopefully educating some others about the things that are going on in the community. And yeah, we did do a donation to that because your mum's actually heavily involved in Family Connections.
Yes.
And when we first were talking about BPD, and I was learning a lot because these things I had no idea about, but there's a great video you sent me, and it was, I think, through Family Connections, but it was a conversation that was had. It was like a Zoom conference sort of thing, and you were talking.
Yeah, that was a conference that was actually run from America, and Mum and I were invited to speak as people we'd been through the worst of it. So I actually hit a point where Mum and I were estranged for 8 years because Mum knew enough to know I needed help, but was saying the wrong things, didn't know how to say it, and the things she was saying came across as invalidating, and I ended up pulling away altogether. At one point I thought I'd never see my parents again. But my mum, wow, she's amazing. She stopped working. She went and studied interstate about BPD. She went and learned about support and stuff with the mindset that she may never be able to talk to me again because I wasn't responding at that point. But she made a decision to help other people, other families, so that they didn't have to go through it, which was incredibly selfless of her and has changed lives. When I found out that she'd been doing that, my sister gave me a call and said, "Can you please get in touch with Mum?" We were able to rebuild our relationship, and the anger that I'd built up over years, I realised that anger had no place because my mum had actually done everything I'd wanted her to do. She recognised that there were mistakes made, and I don't blame her for those mistakes. She grew up in a different time, and you're only dealing with the stuff that you know. But she saw that there was something that needed to be done. She saw that there might be a better way, and she actually made her life about that. And so I've got nothing but love for my mum and respect, because through that, through her talking about it, through me talking about it, through both of us talking about it from both sides, and we have different takes on it, which is interesting, it disproves a lot of the things that people say where you can't get through it. And, I had a psych at a major hospital tell me that the answer to everything was to forget I had family, forget I had children, forget I had friends and family, go and move to a small country town and just start my life again. I just walked out. If that is the prevailing advice that's coming from a chief psych at a major hospital, the system is broken. And so people like me don't turn up at emergency departments anymore. Because you get thrown in a room with a security guard and you don't get any help. And 8 hours later, they just kick you out, and you feel worse than you did when you turned up. And you've turned up, if you've self-presented, because you are trying to seek help, because you're worried about, I'm feeling really bad and I don't feel safe. Can I be somewhere safe? And they treat you badly. So my current recommendation is, if you are like that and you are worried about your mental health and your safety at any time, I've done it 3 times this year. When you feel you're not able to cope, start heading towards the urgent mental health centre, the care clinic. There's one in Grenfell Street. There's one in Elizabeth. They're open 24 hours a day. You can turn up and they will just care for you. You've got space, time, people will come and talk to you. It's not a high-intensity emergency department. And sometimes it's just the circuit breaker that you need. Just turning up can be all you need. Have that circuit break, okay, reset and back out. But if you don't get that chance to reset, everything builds and builds and builds. And suddenly you're more and more isolated because people aren't coming near you, because they sense you're building up. And that's when it all falls apart. There's one analogy I'd like to share that I know has helped some people. So I call it the wave.
I was just exactly about to say that, because it was on my mental list to ask you about the wave. Yeah.
Right. So there's you can feel, if I felt a wave of, let's say, anger or frustration coming on. Let's go with anger because that's easy to understand. Something's happened. I'm really upset. I can feel myself building up. I'm getting tense. But I notice that the people around me are backing away. It's like, oh, okay, he's getting a bit intense. I can't deal with that energy. And people leave. And it's a bit like being on a beach. You're standing, you've got the water. You're standing in the front part of the beach there. The waves lapping in, and suddenly the waters recede, and a big, huge wave starts building up. Everybody else on the beach is like, oh, look at that wave coming. Let's all get to safety. Let's all run up the beach. The problem is that the people who are emotionally dysregulated in this situation are standing in the beach with their feet sunk a foot into the sand. They can't get out. The water's coming in and no one's around. What is so powerful, when you're feeling like that, is someone suddenly stepping up next to you, taking your hand physically or metaphorically and saying, we're going to go through this together. I know the wave's going to hit you, but I'm going to stand by you. And the wave hits and you might get tumbled and thrown around, and you might lose grasp of each other or where you are underwater at the time, but you know somebody is there. You know somebody has taken the time and the awareness to go, I know you're having a hard time, I don't need to know what it is, but I'm just going to stand with you because that will help you. And then when you come out and the wave's passed, you can stand up, you've got somebody else there, and the wave's gone and you're out there looking over a calm ocean. Whew, thank you for being with me. That, if you can do that for a mate once or twice in your life, wow, what a good mate you are.
And I know we're talking about BPD now, but I'm sure that would reign over many aspects of a lot of situations. Yeah, for sure. I know. For me personally, and I've said it many times. It's one of the biggest takeaways from the project is, I think the message is pretty clear to talk about things, but it's how we can stand by someone, whether it be just listening. It doesn't have to be offering advice. It's just how we can now learn to be able to ride the wave with people. And sometimes, as you said, it's just being there. You might lose grasp of each other's hand along the way, but if you can just be there.
So much better than being alone.
It just even, reminds me of when my children were born and being in the maternity ward. And as a dad at that point, you can't really do much. You're not pushing the baby out or giving birth in any way that is possible for the person at the time. But you see a lot of dads just walking around getting the cups of tea, just being there. I think if we can all learn just to be there and just to show up in many different aspects, I think is a great thing.
You make a good point that it's not just about BPD; it's about mental health. Most of the things that apply to BPD, the way you should treat someone with BPD, are the way you should treat anybody. Don't be a dick. If you're being a dick to us, we're going to react. Anyone would. Be nice. Take the time to care for someone and just be mindful. Ask someone how they're going. Pause in your day. Am I just barreling through, getting my stuff done and not paying attention to the team around me? Because if you're doing that, if you recognise that, that's mindfulness. Mindfulness isn't sitting on a mountaintop going mindfulness is being aware. And am I being a dick to everyone? If so, maybe I'm part of the problem. Don't beat yourself up for it. Just try to not be a dick. Because that's making an effort. Sometimes you're in the mood where you are just being, you're just not a nice person for the day. But if you recognise that, go, okay, I'm not being a nice person, then you go, well, there's no need for me to actually put it on everyone else. I might feel angry and upset, but okay, I will deal with that. My mate doesn't deserve that to be lumped on him. Or, if I'm not sure how to deal with it, my mate is there, and maybe I should say to my mate, hey, I'm having a hard time not being a dick today. Can you can you give me some feedback? Or slap me around, or just I've got a mate we would turn up. We were working together years ago, and sometimes we'd turn up and we'd both be tense. And we came up with a rule that if one of us was tense or both of us are tense, one of us just had to yell out, fuck off. And then like, fuck you. And the other like, fuck you. And then we'd laugh. And boom, suddenly the tension's gone in the room because we both just had a go at each other. Whatever works for you.
Yeah, well, another great quote from another podcast, the problem shared is a problem halved. And then if you can just say, F you to your mate, get it, we're having problems here. Well, then suddenly that's shared, that's halved. And then hopefully, within the next, whether it be a minute or whether it be the next 10, 15 minutes, you can go about your day.
That's right. Sometimes it only takes a minute. Like a hug, 30 seconds. You changed my whole day, Random acts of kindness go a long, long way. You never know what someone's going through. There's a million platitudes. If you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours, But it comes down to just taking the time, and not the people with a label, not just the people with a label or a condition or the going, oh, you've got this or that, because we're all on a spectrum somewhere. Everybody, be nice, be mindful, do a self-check.
Yeah, I was listening to an audio book the other day, and it was, the random acts of kindness, and do the random acts of kindness, not so that other people will do kind things onto you, but it'll be the universe will smile upon you. It might not be to get something back from a person immediately, but
Yeah.
I think it does come back if you can, think about, well, I'm going to do something good now because, this world we live in will eventually come back around and help me out, hopefully.
That's right. And don't have transactional relationships.
Yeah,
it's not I'm doing this for you, you're doing this for me. It's no, I'm giving. I don't need reward, I'm going to give. And, practical blokey side of me goes, ha ha ha. But I have seen enough times putting positive energy out there comes back. And if you're having a hard time, the other lesson I've learned is life closes doors, but it'll open something else. Often that thing you've been loving, that stops and you're really upset, but it's because life's going, hang on, there's something better waiting for you. So stick around. Stick around, right? I've stuck around a number of times when I couldn't, when I maybe wouldn't have. And, you look back and go, well, I never would have joined a uke group. Amazing. I never would have met you. I never would have been doing this. I never would have met all the wonderful people.
Well, I love that. You said that the same audio book was saying, what if everyone just took one more step before giving up? Or what if everyone just took went just that tiny bit deeper than before they let it all go? It's amazing how much things would change if people stuck around. It's like that old proverb or that miner that digging through, spent 25 years digging with his pickaxe and then gave up. The next person bought the mine lease, one hit in and they hit the gold vein. It's just that. What would happen if we all just took that extra step?
You got to say yes one more time, then you say no. I had a really.
Just keep going. I'm just checking this because we're right in the middle of the sun here. I just don't want. I'm just making sure there's no heat warning or anything.
Yep.
No, we're still good. We'll go till we overheat.
So I had a. This is the importance of not walking on eggshells and of trying and of being honest with your friends. So I had a really good mate. And he's seen me since I was about 19. He's seen me going up and down through various things, and he's very supportive. I was a country lad. He was a city bloke with dreadlocks when I met him. We were chalk and cheese. But he said something very important to me a number of years ago when I was having a dark time. First of all, he noticed that everything I was listening to was sad. There was a lot of Johnny Cash and Nine Inch Nails and Hurt being played, and he was like, mate, change your Spotify playlist, okay, because you're wallowing. I did that. But I was obviously giving off signs that I wasn't very happy, and I was looking at some dark alternatives, and he was brutally honest with me, and it stuck with me ever since. He said, Jake, if you end it, that's your choice. If you decide you can't deal with it anymore, that's your choice. And we can't stop you. But know that it won't change anything. Your death won't miraculously make everybody go, oh, we should have done better, or blah, blah, blah. All it will do is upset a lot of people, and it will leave a Jake-shaped hole in our hearts, and we will never be able to fill that. So please, don't leave me with that hole in my heart.
Yeah, wow.
And that moment was, how could I do that? No, I'm not going to do that to my mate. So yeah, I'm going to stick around. It's not for me. I'm sticking around for everybody else. And I'm sticking around to do things for other people. A lot of people with BPD have very low sense of self-worth. And that can just be a baseline. Don't try and fix that. Recognize that and then build from that. So when I was at my darkest, I just started throwing myself into community stuff. I started volunteering a lot of community places. I would, go and plant agapanthus at train stations with the Blackwood Action Group, and I joined the local business group and helped them set up Christmas festivals. And then one day I walked past the Blackwood Ukulele Group, and I asked a mate the next day, what the heck were you doing last night? And he said, you've got to come and join. It'd be really good for you, Jake. And I said, I can't play music. I don't know how to read music. I was a bad drummer in high school. And he said, come along. If you buy a uke and you come along for 3 sessions and you don't like it, I'll buy the uke off you. Well, it's been 10 years. I've been in bands. I've written a book with you. We've run picnics every year. Like it's life changing. And one thing I love about it is that at Blackwood and a lot of other places, we say enthusiasm is more important than skill. We get a lot of people turning up going, I don't know how to do this. I'm not going to be any good. right? That's exactly where I started, and you absolutely can do it. All you got to do is turn up and start strumming, and the group will support you. And some of the most supportive, lovely people I know play ukulele.
And that doesn't have to, it doesn't have to be music. It doesn't have to be ukulele. It could be a book club. Your local library. There's things all over the walls of chess, books, everything. Sewing, crochet, knitting.
Groups just for going for walks if you need exercise.
Yeah, walking groups. Or there's the men's shed, but or just the shed, as I've learned as well. A lot of people they're not just for men anymore, but just work community vibe of working on things together. I think is a huge one.
We've got a group of blokes that meet up at the Blair Park Run every Saturday morning, and we're ones who getting out of bed to go for a run on a Saturday morning doesn't motivate me. But if I've told some fellas I'll turn up and walk it, so we get between 10 and 20 blokes turn up every Saturday morning, and they don't have to be blokes. My sister-in-law comes along. We're open to anyone, but it was set up as an excuse for guys to get up and just have a chat. And we do. You just go and walk the 5 kilometre course, and you talk about your week, or if someone's having a hard time, we all support them. There's no pressure, and it's that. But even if you come along and you don't say anything, you've gotten out of bed on a Saturday morning, you've got a sense of achievement by 9 o'clock, you've met other people, you've socialised.
You've been outdoors, which is positive. You've been, vitamin D's good. You've got the heart rate up, which is good. You've moved, which is good. Yeah,
and you don't have to jump straight in and do something massive. It's like ukulele practice. Don't do it for 2 hours once a week and, go really intense. Do it casually 2 minutes a day.
Yeah, set your goals a bit lower so they do become achievable, because achieving small goals, it amounts up. It's that it amounts up to that overall wealth of achieving that goal. We talked about this one before as well. Yeah, sometimes setting your goals too high means you will never actually start to get that goal. Yeah. It's like, I'm not going to start surfing because I don't know how to swim. I really want to know how to surf, but now I'm not going to even bother trying because I can't swim. Well, maybe
don't let perfect be the enemy. Pool. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Don't. If I'm not going to do this right, I won't start. Just have a go, and you'll stuff it up. I have days where I wake up and I recognise that getting out of bed is the hardest thing I've done all day, and that's enough for today. I got out of bed and I don't feel I can do anything else. All right, you got out of bed, because there are days where I haven't got out of bed. And at my worst, I think I was in bed for 5 days at one point, and I don't want to go back to that. But it becomes a cycle that repeats. So if all you can do on this particular day is get out of bed, and that's an achievement, honestly, well done. Well done.
Then maybe the next day you might make the bed.
Yeah. 1% better each day is a goal, but don't beat yourself up. I go with my personal saying used to be, if anyone's going to do it, it may as well be me. So I'd be in a room where people wouldn't put their hand up and volunteer. All right, that's me. And that's my risk-taking behaviour. All right, I'll throw myself up there. I'm happy to be the class idiot, and I'll put myself forward because, I get some attention. Bit of limelight. And my brain just clicked again. Where was I going with that?
Another thing, if it's not worth risking embarrassment for, is it really, is it really worth doing? You
don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to take every risk. Yeah, and you learn that mindfulness as it goes. That's what I was going to say. It used to be, if someone's going to do it, it may as well be me. What I find more helpful at the moment is everything in moderation, including moderation itself. So moderate. Yep, don't go for extreme highs because you get your extreme lows. But every now and then, I'm allowed to go off the rails. I'm allowed to go out and have a bloody good time, have a party, and that's okay. As long as you're not doing that every single day and you're seeking that high every single day, because you will balance out with the lows.
Yeah, I think things that need to be celebrated deserve to be celebrated, I think. We try to do that with our family. If something gets an award or gets something, or we achieve something as a family, let's make sure we celebrate that. But we can't have a celebration every single day. Would we end up broke? Would end up fat, and would end up dumb. Right. So we got to. It does need to be moderated. But when you do something for yourself that's worth a celebration, definitely. And it doesn't need to be going crazy on booze or anything like that. It can be a special treat at the bakery. You know what I'm saying.
An hour lunch instead of a half-hour lunch. Or,
yeah.
Something like that. It's It's important to reward yourself. There's an American. It's interesting, the American approach to celebration at work as opposed to Australian. In America, they'll set a project and there'll be steps along the way, and every time you achieve a step, they'll have a little office celebration. Or, well done, everyone, G you up. And we kind of look at, oh, gee, that's all a bit over the top, calm down, guys. But in Australia, we often don't celebrate unless we've done a job at 150%. Like, we not only met it and we did it, but we absolutely did it to a level we weren't expecting, and so now it's worth celebrating. No, you're worth celebrating just for getting the job done, because that's an achievement. Well done. You've done your job, and you've done it well. You don't have to do it to a level where you should have been paid 3 times as much for to do it before you celebrate. If you're running a team, celebrate your team.
Yeah, celebrate the milestones, celebrate the steps.
Yeah, don't go overboard, but that little steps, little bits of recognition can make little random acts of kindness can make a world of difference. Yeah.
Well, Jake, we are starting to cook in the
We
sun.
are cooking in the sun.
I think
It's a beautiful
the camera
day.
over there might be melting, but yeah, I felt like we could go on for ages.
We
It's
could.
been a great chat, and it was just like, yeah, the whole project's been about starting conversations, because BPD was not something I knew you were carrying, carrying on your shoulders. So it's really opened my eyes, and it's not only. This project's not only just had conversations with the greater community, but it's definitely started conversations with, my immediate community as well.
Yeah.
So which
It's
I
fantastic.
think that's the goal,
Yeah.
achieved, because we may have not have raised millions, we may not have done a million podcasts or anything like that either, but I think
I think everybody's been watching you, Ben, is very proud of what you've done. It's such it's an extraordinary achievement. It's a huge, massive task. I don't think people understand logistically how complicated it is, and you've got a family to support, and jobs to keep you going in the meantime. And I think it's been incredible. I think the success of it isn't in the number of podcasts or the money raised. I think the biggest success is seeing someone like you out there having conversations, because every conversation you've had has then started another conversation or made someone else feel better about having a conversation, and that's leading the way. You're the thin end of the wedge that's driving apart this big thing where suddenly it's normal and everyone can talk about it. But unless someone does it first and shows, it's fine, let's do this, people need to be led, and I think you've led in this
that
by
means a lot.
example.
That's one of my things as well, is hard to process things that have been done and things that have achieved, and then have pride and stuff like that. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I can see you're very humble, Ben, and I think your view of yourself doesn't quite appreciate the view other people have of you, and that's fine. That's we all view ourselves differently, but I think you have earned a chance to take a little bit of that humility and maybe just squash it down and go, yeah, well done, pat myself on the back. What a bloody good job.
Well, we're not at the end yet.
All right, not celebrate just yet.
We'll maybe next Friday we'll
Next
be able
Friday,
to celebrate. Yep, and we'll get the Bugs Buggy out, and we'll do the final lap of the of Rundle Mall and finish up there. And
everyone should come down.
Yeah,
but that's gonna be big.
If I can get my act together and this podcast comes out in time, it will be December 12th, Rundle Mall. We'll be going around Rundle Mall all day before that, but we'll be finishing in Rundle Mall just as Stephen's Place intersects it, and we'll be playing some tunes. Bring down a uke and or a guitar, or just come down and get involved. It's going to be a good day. It'll be the last day of school for a lot of people, so the mall should be pumping, and we can finish off the project with a bang.
Really good for your mental health with more people there.
Yeah. A lot of this project is I have been by myself on all the little streets and alleyways, and sometimes I like that.
Yeah.
But hopefully some people come, and we can raise just that touch bit more money, and we can get a few more charities donated to before Christmas.
Yeah. Ben, it's been an absolute honour.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks,
I
buddy.
appreciate you opening up, and we
awesome.
Yeah, as you said,
we inspire each other.
Yeah, it's an inspiring conversation. Thanks very much, Jake.
No worries. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks for listening to the Concrete Connection Project podcast. If you want to support this project even further, please like, follow, share, subscribe, or leave a review wherever you're listening to this podcast. To support this project even further, please leave a small donation in the GoFundMe campaign, where we are raising money and awareness for mental health and mental health charities that are supporting people that are struggling. Please find the link in the show description or scan the QR code. Thanks for listening.